How's everyone doing? We can do better than that. How's everyone doing? Thanks for having us, and thanks for making it.
Those lights are bright.
First of all, I want to thank everyone for coming. This is actually, so for Alternative Fact Chicago, this is our third live podcast that we've done. And so my name is B.Hun. This is B.Chan. How you doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great. We're glad to be here. This is actually your first live podcast. How do you feel?
My first. I feel good.
Yeah? You think you can make it?
I think I can do it.
You're not ready to run out yet?
I'm not running out yet.
No, I think you'll be okay.
Not yet.
You're a natural at this.
We'll see.
So, just to give everyone a background, for those who have not ever listened to our show's had a great run so far. We're on iTunes, SoundCloud as well, too. We've had a lot of success. We talk about mainstream music, sports, entertainment, reality TV. Anything you can name, we will talk about it. What else you got to add to that, B?
Well, we want to add some thanks to some people who have sponsored us along the way. Starting when B.Hun and Bobby started, we've had sponsors from people like Better Government Association, the Wrigley Report, and FireJeffSessions.com. So we appreciate, can we get a hey for them? So we appreciate all the support from our sponsors.
And it's been a great ride. Like this, actually doing a live show and having our podcast for the past year just helps to remind us, and I always tell people you can do anything that you want. All you have to do is just make an effort. We've had some amazing guests for only being in the show for a year from MTV The Challenge. We've had Leroy on the show. We've had rapper Sammy Adams on the show. We've had former WWE wrestler Cole Cabana on the show. We've had Nate Duhan, Anthony D'Amico from Married at First Sight, the reality show as well, too. So all types of guests. The list goes on and on. We just had the CEO from Glapid Nova, Nick Brown, on the show this past week, so as well as our own thing as well, too. So I always tell people, whatever you want to do, especially with the age of social media, you can definitely make it happen with hard work, effort, and actually just being yourself.
I'm most disappointed that I missed Leroy. That was before I came on, so I'm hoping we can get a repeat visit.
And for all that know, too, obviously I had a previous co-host, Bobby. Shouts out to Bobby. He couldn't be here. That was our previous co-host. We had a great run with him as well, too. And unfortunately, he was not able to continue. Yeah, let's clap it up for Bobby, for all those who know Bobby as well. We love Bobby, but hey, life goes on, and the show still goes on as well, too. So my thought process was, after he had to leave, I was going to take some time, take my time with it, and figure out actually another co-host. I want to do it by myself, switch things up completely. Was the show going to end? And of course, the show was not going to end, too, as well, too. So I've been thinking for a while, and I had some, various co-hosts, had some other guests as well. I tried to keep it local to Chicago. They did actually a great job, and I've had some actual great episodes with B.Chan over here. So, and I have not yet actually, we've had some other guests. I've not actually officially announced another co-host, but I wanted to wait to the live show today, and I think Brittany has been an amazing addition to the show. She's added a lot to our fan base, a different perspective, a woman perspective, which we just didn't really have on the show as of yet. So I wanted to wait to the live show here on April 25th of 2018 to announce that the new co-host of Alternative Fact Chicago with myself will be B.Chan. So let's give it up for her.
So thank you. I say that no one in the world has ever made me feel like a raging feminist like B.Hun does, because I think I'm pretty middle of the road and I see things both ways till I talk to him, and he's so far that way that I'm like, you definitely needed somebody with a little bit of a different perspective.
Let's keep it real. You keep it up for girl power.
He says you and your girl power shit, which is not true at all. But I'm thankful for the opportunity. It was the craziest thing when Bobby was leaving, and I was like, well, maybe I should do it. And he was like, maybe. I didn't actually think this would happen. So it's been really exciting and really fun, and I'm having a really good time.
To the top we go. So, shouts out to Britt for coming to the show. She's been a great addition. Her perspective has been amazing so far. So we'll keep rocking, and we'll see what happens.
That's right.
So let's get to our fan of the week this week. Is one of our fans of the week here? You want to announce it?
Our fan of the week is Tara Sang. She drove a whole caravan of people here to the live show. She doesn't stay out past 8 p.m. for anything in the world. So we're thankful for her support. She is part of the new listeners who probably never listened before. She's the new white stay-at-home mom listener demographic that I brought to the show. And so we're thankful for your support.
Congratulations. She's always sending out Facebook messages and Facebook posts and tweeting out the episode every week. So, so we try to make sure we acknowledge our fans each and every week and pick listeners around the country, not even just Chicago, too, that listen to our show.
In fact, she might be our first one that's actually from Chicago.
I know, actually. We've had, fans of the week from all over the country. So the fact that she's the first one actually local to Chicago is a great thing. So once again, let's clap it up for Tara.
But there's no time for you to give a speech, so just stay there.
Enough of that. Let's get to the juicy stuff, all right?
Yeah.
What are we talking about first? And this one is a good one. Let's get into it.
This one, right before I was leaving my house to come here, B.Hun got me in a fight with somebody on Twitter over this.
I think it was Bobby, wasn't it?
It was Bobby. And I was like raging before I even left. And I'm like, maybe this is good because now I'm not even nervous because I'm so mad. So last week, if anyone listened to our episode, we always, at the end of our episode, have a clown of the week. And my clown of the week was Kanye West, who had promoted himself as a philosopher, and all sorts of people were going to follow the book of Jesus. Is that right, B.Hun?
Jesus Christ is what we call him.
And B.Hun immediately got on Twitter. I was not even home from recording the episode, and he's clowning me for clowning Kanye. Is that right?
That was correct.
He had his laptop in front of him, pulling up all kinds of tweets, this wonderful things Kanye said. Well, unbeknownst to me, Kanye would make me look like a genius this week. Is that right?
No comment.
You wouldn't say that? Okay. So this week, those who may or may not follow Kanye West, he got on Twitter. He's been on Twitter like on a rampage. And my point was simply that no one should follow him as a philosopher. Like his music, like him, fine. But he started a firestorm on Twitter that I don't think is out yet. There's probably more going on right now. But on April 21st, he tweeted out that he loved the way that Candace Owens thinks. A lot of people didn't know who Candace Owens was, so they're like, wait a minute, let's figure out who this chick is. Why does Kanye love her? So pulling up a couple tweets of Candace Owens quickly gives us an idea of the way that she thinks. So there's a couple that we wanted to highlight. Recent tweets that on April 16th, she said, I truly believe that the real Donald Trump is not just the leader of the free world, but the savior of it as well. May God bless America, the last stand for Western civilization. She also said on April 8th, everybody is upset that Tony Robbins told the truth about the Me Too movement. It's become a political witch hunt led by women who were at one time willing to trade sex for career advancements. There, I said it. So now we know the way that Candace Owens thinks, and we know that Kanye loves the way that she thinks. He went on to have a conversation with a radio DJ out of California, DJ Ebro, and he told him in no specific terms that he loved Donald Trump, but then he went on to say he would love to give more context to his tweets, but people will understand them when the music comes out. So that kind of leads us to a conversation to find out, what is Kanye West doing? B.Hun?
All right, so I love Kanye West. I love his music. I would say the biggest thing is where Kanye West has went wrong, and maybe his fault is obviously he's a Kardashian now. He lives in Calabasas, California, up in the hills somewhere. He's like so far gone in the trees of life that I think he's completely lost reality or touch of reality what's going on in 2018. Not necessarily even in Chicago, but just around the country. But what I think I've learned, and I tweeted about this, and I said earlier that in 2018, we learned that someone's tweets can be considered an album rollout. Kanye West has announced that he has an album coming out soon. Him and Kid Cudi have an album coming out. He's producing an album for Tiana Taylor, for Pusha T.
Nas.
And for Nas as well, too. All coming out allegedly in June. So what Kanye's done is he's taken this, and he even admitted this, he's using all of this to promote his album. And you know what it's doing? It's actually working.
Is it?
Totally working, because to a sense that it's working just for the simple fact that people are talking about him and it creates attention. And what's going to happen is when his music drops, people are going to check for his music and actually see what he's talking about. Whether he's right or wrong, they're going to say, let me find out what the hell this guy is actually talking about. He is actually gone. He's in the clouds, and it is nuts. I'm not saying I defend anything that he's saying, but he's doing it as a trolling effort. The fact that he keeps tweeting more and more and more and more, and the fact that people are getting more pissed off about it, I think deep down he actually loves it.
I agree with you. I think he does love it. One of the things is he talks all the time about being demonized. So I'm curious to see if that becomes a theme of his album, that he's this victim and that he wants everyone to be a free thinker and no one's free to think in this country. Where I think he's messed up is taking it to the step of Donald Trump and this Candace Owens, where his base, who probably are not Trump supporters, would you say? No, probably not. Probably not. His base, if they stand by their convictions, will not sell out and buy his album. So I think that he may have crossed that line from trolling. And here's where I think he's messed up. I think he is being pushed by the Kardashian machine. And the difference here is Kris Jenner never dealt with anyone who actually had talent before. So it didn't matter. There was no breaking point. You just pushed it as far as it could go. She's ruining him. Mr. Kardashian, it's not working.
And he put out a tweet that said, I don't have a manager because I can't be managed.
And I said, I also can't be managed.
A lot of people can't be managed, but I don't think he can be managed too. I think he's lost his way to a point, but I think, honestly, he just really doesn't care. I think, people are going to support his music. He has certain people on his side. He's become almost of a troll himself, because I think what's going to happen, and I hope not because I love Kanye West, I don't think his music's probably as good as it once was. So I think in order to mask that, he's going to troll his way to getting, album sales like, here, go listen to my music. So the fact that he has nothing but time to just tweet all day and all day and all day.
Pictures of his house, too.
I think he's just bored. Honestly, I think he's just bored with the whole Kardashian life, so he has nothing to do.
Do you think, though, it's crossed over to a point that there are certain people who now say, I cannot support him as a
Oh, yeah, I had people all day on Twitter saying I'm unfollowing him. A couple of my best friends unfollowing him. I think he lost up to like 9 million followers, and today alone, I think it is.
Yeah, because he did tweet a picture of himself in a Make America Great Again hat. Then, right before we were coming here, Chance the Rapper got on board, and he had tweeted, this was not so controversial, that not every black person needs to be a Democrat, but Donald Trump Jr. had jumped right on it to tweet support for Chance and then to tweet support for Kim Kardashian. So I just feel like this might cross a line from normal trolling to a point where people say, I can't support you.
Yeah, I love Chance the Rapper, too. He's amazing. But I think at some point along the way in the past year or so, he decided to go from being Chance the Rapper to like Martin Luther King III or like Malcolm X Jr. And like he needs to actually just go back to rapping and making music. Like, where's the music, Chance? I think right now he's jumping in like too many lanes to defend people. So I think a battle trying to defend Kanye West, I don't think it's going to help him at all. No. It's going to alienate a lot of his fan base, especially being from Chicago and where people are from. So I think he needs to stay away from that. But hey, Chance is going to do what he's going to do. And then Kanye West also tweeted that, what has Obama done? And when he was president for 8 years, what did he do for the city of Chicago? Nothing changed. Unfortunately, he's right, but I'm not defending it. But what did he really do? So, and I think what's going on with that, and we'll get off of this here quickly, that Obama, I guess, didn't really take a meeting with him back in the day, or called him a jackass back in the day. And obviously, Donald Trump had one meeting with him. So Kanye West is just stroking his ego. I think he's just bored. I think it's honestly, it's great marketing for him. Like, I think it's probably going to work, but I don't know if his music's going to be able to back it up. And right now, it has to back it up, or people are really going to clown him.
Somebody get on record now. I don't think it will work, but it is that it's his ego. And so Obama wouldn't meet with him. Obama didn't care about Kanye, so Kanye doesn't care about Obama. Donald Trump knew how to play him. He stroked his ego. He made him feel important. Donald Trump retweeted Kanye West, and Kanye West screenshot it and posted it to Twitter. So he is a child who just needs his ego stroked.
He does need it's kind of working though, unfortunately.
We'll see if it does work when the album comes out.
I bet when we leave here, there'll probably be at least like 15 more tweets of him going
We'll see if
off.
the album sells.
I think it'll sell, but I think the quality may not be as good. Like I said, which is why I think he's doing this to divert attention from it.
Makes sense.
And speaking of, just to translate and pivot from that, what I've noticed is, and it's hard to kind of determine in 2018, there's a lot of rappers and a lot of artists who have dealt with like many things in the media, who have met with people like R. Kelly, and I don't even know why we're talking about R. Kelly, but his name is going to come up right
B.Hun
now.
always blames me for bringing up R.
I get so pissed even like talking about R.
Kelly.
Kelly, but his name's going to come up. And this is a question for you: is how does your personal feelings about an entertainer get in the way of supporting him as an artist? Like, say what Kanye West is doing. You've been a Kanye West fan, your entire life. Are you still going to support him, or are you done with Kanye West?
I think it's a hard line. I think it depends what it is that they're saying. So it kind of, if it doesn't really bother you what they're saying, even if you think it's wrong, you're probably still going to support them. We talk about R. Kelly a lot. I still have a lot of R. Kelly music on my phone. But my defense is, once you've bought it, you've already given them the money. So I don't think I would buy new music because I wouldn't support them financially. But once you have it, it's safe.
Yeah, how many people do you know are still stepping in the name of love in 2018? And
I have a couple girls who are still remixing Ignition over there.
I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends that would still go to an R. Kelly concert if he had a concert today. They just don't care. And so it's like when you like grow up with an artist, you support him, you know deep down that it's wrong, but you still may support him. With the Fabulous situation, Fabulous the rapper and his potential domestic, issue, with his girlfriend or whatnot. How many people are still saying, I'm going to support Fabulous, or let's let all the facts play out first before you actually judge them. So it's a give and take. At the end of the day, all I want is Kanye West's music. I don't care what he tweets about. I don't care what he does, with the Kardashians. I think he should just put out good music and leave it at that.
And I think that's fair, and I think that's what's different today, though, with social media, is you have a lot more information from them, more than you might want, that you didn't have 10 years ago.
Exactly. Sounds good. We good with that?
Yeah, we're good.
So you still going to support Kanye, though?
I am not.
You're not going to? So you're saying when his album comes out, you're not going to listen?
I will not listen to Kanye's album.
I bet you will. Thank you. Thank you.
Franco, how many songs on Cardi B did I listen to?
I know she actually did not listen to any Cardi B's album when I thought she was going to listen to.
They don't understand how stubborn I am.
Kanye's a what?
He's a punk, yeah.
He is.
No Kanye.
But I think he knows this, so he trolls and does it now.
Yeah. See? Listen to the people.
Hey.
Okay, so you can tell me how it is.
I'll let you know how it is, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
You ready to bring up some of our special guests?
Yeah, don't you have a sponsor break first?
I think we should skip that for today. We already mentioned them.
All right, sounds good.
So, these guys are awesome. So Alternative Fact Chicago has been actually on their radio show called the D and Davis Show. They also have a podcast called the Flip Podcast as well, which you've been on there as well too. Two of the best guys I have known in Chicago. They know everything about sports for the city of Chicago, and not just Chicago, all across the country. And they're just good guys and have great conversations, and we like to rock with just genuine people. So when we had this podcast, we had the opportunity, we figured, and they reached out and lent us a helping hand. So we wanted to kind of, give the love back and have them as guests on our show for all of our fans and other fans of podcasts as well. They need to hear more from these people. So right now we're going to have them up for a segment here. So everyone here today, please welcome Ken and Demons from the D and Davis Show up to Alternative Fact Chicago.
I started. Yeah.
I know, you all right there?
Yeah, I was sitting next to her, since I
There we
appreciate
go.
her Kanye takes a little bit.
That's right.
Am I in trouble?
Come on,
You didn't like
Ken.
my takes?
No, I'm going to listen, but
Me and
still.
Ken.
Hey, someone.
What's up?
He's getting punkish. I will agree with
Right.
you on that point.
See,
He did.
Well, he's been punkish.
You
but
wouldn't say that to his face, though.
I wouldn't say that. You know how big I am?
You would not say that.
I wouldn't say that to
You
Kanye's
wouldn't
face.
say that to Kanye West.
My money
think
is
I
on
would say
Ken.
Probably wouldn't get close enough to say it to his
That's
face
true.
anyway. So.
That's true.
We thank you guys for being here, though.
Yes,
No
thank
doubt,
you.
man. Thanks for
we
having
were
us.
so excited when we were talking about this. We were like, this show is so, I think he said to me, this show is so sports heavy, which makes me happy. So starting out for both of you, tomorrow being the first night of the NFL draft, one of the biggest nights in both college and professional football, this seems like a year like a lot is up in the air with the first 10 picks of the draft. Would you agree?
Totally.
Okay.
But it's because of quarterbacks.
Right.
With that said, and with so many variables, what are you most excited to watch for tomorrow?
You know what? I can say this much. I do like the fact that in the top 10, it's a lot of blue chip prospects. But the fact that I don't think any of these quarterbacks are right now Hall of Famers, or even the quarterbacks that people are looking at as being the best, I differ with that. I'm not as excited, so I'm probably looking more to see what the Giants do it too, since, like, will they go ahead and keep Eli since they benched him last year, even though they got rid of that coach? Or will they draft a quarterback or go with Saquon Barkley? And then kind of look at what the teams like the Bears do and perhaps Denver, since they brought in Case Keenum, will they make a move and move down? So that's kind of more where I'm interested at, because the quarterbacks, now I'll tell you later the ones I prefer, but it's kind of like...
I will tell you the ones I prefer too.
Tell me.
I will.
But it's the NFL draft, so quarterbacks are always overvalued.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Do what you got.
What I'm looking for, I wanted something like an element of surprise. You know, I want something to happen. It's like, oh man, I didn't see that coming. Like one prediction I throw out there, it would be nice. Well, not a prediction, kind of like a wish, a sports fan's wish, is maybe like the Browns take like Chubb at first. And then just throw the entire draft.
That'll
off.
never happen.
Just like, let's flip the table over. Let's just go ahead and then just go for it.
That can't happen because they're going to take 2 quarterbacks.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Browns have the first pick and they have the 4th pick. Maybe they can always go back and get that quarterback because, as Ken said before, none of these quarterbacks are kind of like rated that high, and they probably going to be there. You know what I'm saying? So I want to see something. I always love it. Like when you watch the NBA draft or NFL draft, you're just waiting for the commissioner to come out and say, "And we have a trade." You know what I'm saying? So I'm waiting for something like that, but it probably won't happen. 9 times out of 10, these guys have been researching and doing their due diligence, and it's probably going to go down the way we expect it to.
That's kind of what I'm thinking, too, especially for the NFL. The NBA is a lot different where there are a lot of trades.
Yeah.
And the NFL, you really don't see a lot of trades, at least in the early picks for the draft. Like late first round on, you kind of do.
Yeah, true. Well, although like it's been kind of like weird this season. We've been seeing actually mid-season trades in the NFL, which never happens because you're talking about going into a team and learning a system. I mean, football is kind of like the military, you want to say. It's kind of like the army sport or a military sport. So you don't have anybody just kind of hopping in. So I don't know. You might see something kind of fun. I don't know.
I know you mentioned the Cleveland Browns just a little bit ago and what they're going to do with the pick. So my question for both of you guys, and like you said, I know you want to see a big wrench in the draft and things change. So. Me too, actually. I kind of hope so. So with that being said, do you see them keeping the first pick? And if so, are they going to draft Baker Mayfield to shake up the whole scene? Or who do you see them drafting with the number 1 pick?
Well, I'll say this.
I know
they're
Ken
definitely
don't want
keeping
no
the number
Baker.
1 pick. Because they can move the number 4 pick if necessary to grab more picks later on.
Right.
So with the number 1 pick, at least they can decide if they're going to go quarterback, and they're going to go quarterback. Now, I'll say this. I'm not a Baker Mayfield guy.
No.
Even though the last
This guy
We
right
need
here
to switch seats.
He hates.
We need to switch
Baker Mayfield.
seats, Ken.
Sorry, move your
All
ass
right,
over
can we
there.
get? All right,
And I'm on your show.
Thanks you guys for coming on the show. It's been great to have you.
Yeah. But I'll put it like this. I bet, see, that's the thing. Now, it's easy, and I get the fact that Baker Mayfield is arrogant and plays with passion, and he's confident, and he's proven it. Out of all the quarterbacks that we're talking about, he's the only one that had a good year this year.
Yeah.
Last year when we drafted Mr. Trubisky, when the Bears drafted Mr. Trubisky, people thought that draft was bad. But now when people look at the fact that most of these quarterbacks haven't performed well this season outside of Baker Mayfield, they're downgrading this draft. So I'll say that. He performed better, and I know he's not as short as people want to make him out to be, so I'll take that off. But I think there are going to be limitations, and the fact that people look at him as a rock star, 3 or 4 years down the road, they're going to look at that as perhaps being a hindrance. And the guy that jumps out to me, and I don't know if he's as intelligent as this guy, is Jake Plummer.
Okay.
I think about a real cocky quarterback who's super intelligent. And for anybody that's thinking about it, Jake Plummer was also the guy that kind of taught Jay Cutler some of the things when he got to Denver or whatever. So I'm not a Baker Mayfield's guy.
Okay.
I'm not either. I kind of put him between a combination of like Johnny Manziel. Well, not combination, but your spectrum is Johnny Manziel or Drew Brees.
Right.
You hope he's somewhere close to Drew Brees. He won't be Drew Brees. So I don't know. I mean, Donald is probably the best overall. Don't know about Allen. I don't know, man. This quarterback class is not that high. It would be actually good to see like these GMs say like, you know what, we're going to wait for this. But the whole thing when you talk about quarterbacks, if you hit on that guy And based on the NFL rules nowadays, you're going to have a quarterback for the next 10 to 15 years.
Right.
And for cheap for a while.
For a while. So,
there you go.
yeah. B.Hun, what you talking about? You don't know sports.
I did not say that. Do
Because
not
women
come
don't
here
know
lying on me.
sports.
So if you,
Why do you think I picked her as a co-host?
That's true. That's true. So no. If you hit on one, there you go. That's what a lot of Chicago Bears fans are hoping with Mitchell Trubisky. Although he only played 13 games in college, you're hoping. You know what I'm saying? You're in the industry of hoping right now, which is kind of
Right.
weird for the NFL.
Okay, so getting to the Bears, because
Yes.
this is a Chicago crew.
The Bears.
Lots of discussion about their interest in Quentin Nelson, right?
Yes.
He's a guard from Notre Dame. If he's available at number 8, it seems like that's the way the Bears will go. Do you agree?
Usually you don't draft guards this high, but the fact that his comps are extraordinary, yeah, I wouldn't be mad. I mean, I'm always like this. The trenches, and when we're talking about the trenches, we're talking about the defensive line and the offensive line. If you have a great defensive line, it's going to make your DBs and your linebackers look better than what they are. If you have a great offensive line, it's going to make your quarterback look better. So even though it's not the sexy pick, like, let's get this receiver, ooh, it's so
Right.
sexy. Those are the people that built the foundation. So even though it's a guard, usually you want to take a tackle or somebody in that situation, I wouldn't be mad, but Chicago fans are probably going to be half and half. Most people that know will be cool with it, but some people will wish they went with the sexier pick.
I think here in Chicago, especially being Notre Dame country, they're probably going to take Quentin Nelson. And also, too, I've been saying this a lot on our show.
They brought in the offensive line coach, too, from Notre
True,
Dame.
exactly. Brought in an offensive line coach. Also, too, I've been saying this. You want to protect your investment. I don't care if it's from your home, your car. You might want to get the little bumper thing on the back of the car so nobody can bump into it in the back. You want to protect your investment, and your investment right now is Mitchell Trubisky. You want to get a guy up in front who's going to maul a defensive lineman and get downfield, run downhill, and protect them on the pass. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to go with Quentin Nelson. I will say this, though. If it is kind of a shakeup, and I'm praying for this. Maybe Barkley kind of falls because of quarterbacks taken very highly.
Yeah.
Maybe Chubb will fall. He won't. But maybe can I dream? I want to dream right now. Can I dream? So if Chubb even fall back, if you were able to get a defensive lineman, what's your man that's coming out of Alabama? Georgia, the linebacker.
Smith.
But he doesn't fit really in the Bears system.
I
He's
don't
more
care.
of a
You take the
4-3.
best guy available.
No, the thing is, I'll say this: if it's not
Take the
Quentin
best guy
Nelson,
available.
if it's not Quentin Nelson,
Wait, if it's not Quentin Nelson, it's going to be Tremaine Edmonds.
that's true.
That's a good one.
Or I would say this: perhaps Mika Fitzpatrick from Alabama.
True. And also, don't be surprised if the Colts take Nelson, because Andrew Luck is a walking cast right now. They did not, as I said, protect their investment. They didn't do that, and he's always banged up. So I wouldn't be surprised even if the Colts, who's picked right before the Bears, or 6 or 7, something like that. So yeah, before the Bears, they swoop up and they take Nelson. So he's not a guarantee for him to be there when they draft. But if he is there, you take him.
So unfortunately, I'm a Detroit Lions fan, so I don't really care about any of this.
Oh my goodness.
But
oh my
sorry for all the Bears fans out here. I got to rep my Lions. I got to rep the Lions, though. But we'll see how it goes. But am hoping that the Bears actually do some good things, because for the city of Chicago, when you have a good football team, it makes it better for the city. So am rooting for the Bears to be good.
I mean, yeah, it does. I mean, listen, they take my tax money. I want them to be good.
Yeah.
What do you want the Lions to do?
Yeah.
I want the Lions to actually not take a tight end or somebody in the first round, or a running back, or just something stupid. The Lions do not do well at drafting. They do not do well at drafting, and they haven't for a long time.
You know who does do well at drafting?
New England Patriots.
The Dallas Cowboys. Do you think the Cowboys trade up and get Derwin James?
No.
No,
Cowboys,
I don't think
I'm not sure, and it depends on where he falls. And I'm not saying it's going to be the first round if they don't get this guy. I think Calvin Ridley, since Dez Bryant, is probably going to be the hit for them. That's why I think.
that's a
Or
good one.
DJ Moore?
Yeah. But see, my only problem with DJ Moore, and DJ Moore is more of a guy that blows the roof off the top. I think Calvin really can do that and run more routes.
Yeah.
And he can kind of feel more of the role that you got from Dez. You kind of got some little speedy guys in Beasley and stuff like that. So if I was them, I would probably go with Calvin Ridley, because Dak Prescott needs a receiver he can grow with, since him and Dez never really gelled.
I'm just waiting for Dez Bryant to become a Giant and be on the other side of Odell Beckham. The Giants draft Barkley and say, Eli, do it for me one more time. time, baby. That's what I want to say.
You a secret Giants fan over here?
No, you know what? It's always kind of weird because when Ken and I first started, we was like, every year it's like, don't worry about the Giants. And then all of a sudden, like, Giants won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I want to kind of see that one last little hurrah, especially for Eli, because he's basically done. You
And
know
they
what
need
I'm
to
saying?
draft a QB since he's done.
One more ride.
Well, I love the NFL draft this whole time. Actually, I can't wait for it to be over because they've been talking about it on ESPN for like the last 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how many mock drafts I've had to watch, which they don't really know what's going to happen, but it's a good time. So it's this weekend, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday?
Yeah, man.
Is this Sunday too or just Saturday?
I think it's just this Thursday, Friday, and
Saturday.
Yeah, so we'll definitely
Make it a whole
tune in.
weekend. Why not?
Let's switch gears quickly. Let's talk a little bit of NBA action. I know
Yes.
the playoffs are right now. I think it's 3 or 4 games on tonight. You know, what's your outlook? For the NBA playoffs. I'll start with you over here. Who do you think's really gonna win it? Especially, let's start with the East, and then we'll go to the West. But who do you think's coming out of the East?
You know what? I picked Toronto to come out the East. I liked their play this year. They expanded the three-point shot for them this year. DeRozan has stepped up and expanded his shot. Lowry has been playing well. But damn it, that's still. I'm sorry, I got the kids in front. Earmuffs.
It's a family show.
It's about to get real in NBA. But they're kind of showing their true colors is always me and the Raptors. I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say the Raptors. I am not a believer in Cleveland. The rest of the team, I love LeBron James as a player. He's probably going to go down as maybe number 2 all-time great, maybe number 3 if you want to really argue about it. But the cast around him, I don't trust them at all. At all. So I'm going to stick to my guns. I'm going to say Toronto coming out the East.
I mean, look, LeBron has to die before I say he's dead. He's done too much. I mean,
He has.
We would, if this was someone in Chicago, we would say it's disrespectful for somebody to say like that. He's been to the finals, 7 straight years? This would be the 8th. As far as just straight, this will be the 9th altogether. I have to see that. I agree the team hasn't been performing, but they made a lot of trades and a lot of stuff just fell into place. You can see if they can forge this going forward. I'll say this. I was the Toronto guy. He's always dissed Toronto. Toronto's not coming out the East.
Sometimes you just make a change, baby.
No, they're done. They're done. I mean, and look, it's questionable if they're going to get past Washington, and Washington wanted to face
I agree.
them. Like, Washington was like, bring that here. So I'll say this. Outside of Cleveland, and I'll go with a hot take, and I'll sound like a millennial, I'm going to say Philly.
Now, see, I don't know if Philly's going to make it because you still have to get knocked down before you get back up when it comes to the NBA playoffs.
I agree.
They're
getting
young.
knocked out in the finals.
But
I won't go that far.
they got their lucky charm. Meek Mill's out of jail. Let's go. Meek's out of jail.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other discussion. If y'all want to bring me back on that, that's kind of...
Yeah, well, that's a whole
I find
other
it kind of weird that these old white cats are like loving Mickey Mill and like, it's just kind of weird, but I'm happy that y'all though. I am.
I agree.
All right, so you guys are both White Sox fans, yes?
Of course.
Die hard.
Of course, he says.
Yes.
So what's your outlook on the 2018 season, and are the Cubs still the team to be in the National League?
You know what? I'll say this. I'll start with the Cubs first because they're the team that's the better team and they're more important right now. And I'm a White Sox fan saying that. I'll say this. The Cubs have to go through the season, and if this pitching staff, when you look at Lester and Yu Darvish, if these guys can really start clicking, and former White Sox Quintana, if they can start clicking and really, this is not to say they dominate, but really just eat up innings, the Cubs should be fine. I don't know because it's baseball what will take place in the playoffs, but I won't necessarily say in the National League they're my hands-on favorite because you still got a couple of teams. I still wonder, and the Dodgers have failed, but I look at a team like the Dodgers. I look at a team, and I know they're suspect, but even what maybe the Nationals will do. A few teams in the National League since it's early that I won't say the Cubs are clearly the favorite, but they're in contention. If there are 4 teams, they're in that 4 teams, and they've been there before. With the Sox should lose. I mean,
They're going to lose.
They're going to lose.
Well, put it like this: a lot of people started getting hyped during the spring training, like, oh yeah, the Sox are going to be good. It's like if you really want this to work, you want them to be bad,
Right.
And you don't want to rush anything. Let it be bad so the players can develop properly. You don't want to work. So I would say the Sox thing, excluding this year, is 2 years away.
Yeah.
But when you really want them to do something, maybe after next season, a little move. I wouldn't say go out and blow the bank out, but to do it properly. I think because of the Cubs, let's be honest, when you look at rebuilding, you see kind of the format that Houston and the Cubs did, and it seems like, all right, even if you don't get a title, this can kind of keep you in contention longer to start with young players and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I want to see growth with the White Sox. Just get a little bit better than you were last year. I think they won like maybe 70-something games last year, maybe high 60s, low 70s. So okay, pick up 5 to 10 games. That would be miraculous to me, actually. But it's all about the minor league system, what them boys coming up. So the next 2 to 3 years, you know what I'm saying, they should be doing something. You just hope maybe, 2 or 3, possibly 4 of those guys hit. You cooking with something for real then. But the Cubs is rolling right now. They'll be fine. You know, Schwarber probably going to get traded, though, because he's he's
not getting traded.
He's a DH, you know. I mean, I'm just being real.
Not this year.
They've been hitting very well in Cleveland, and what is Cleveland, American League team, and they can just put their bats up there and they can just blow. When they go to the National League, things might get a little dicey. I wasn't a big fan of Yu Darvish, the signing. I understand it. He can get up innings and you got the price. But when he gets to the World Series or the playoffs, what happens to him?
Right.
He gets smacked around. So if you're talking about you want to win championships, you get you a guy that's going to win you championships. So, I mean, but the Cubs will be fine for the most part. They're running the city right now. But about 2-3 years from now, you know what I'm saying, it'll be the Sox time. And then hopefully everybody will see a crosstown series. That's what I'm
An actual, like, a crosstown World Series.
Crosstown World Series. That's what I want. That's what I want.
The entire city would burn down.
Hey, one of us got to survive.
Well, fellas, you guys are amazing. So we do a quick hit segment at the end of our podcast before Clown of the Week. You guys down to come back up and join us for there?
Yeah,
sure,
no doubt.
thank you.
So they'll come back up, and in the meantime, everyone give some love to the D and Davis podcast. You guys are awesome.
Okay. So I don't know. I know there's some comic fans here. There's a big deal tomorrow. There's a movie coming out, an Avengers movie, that is a sequel to like 15 other movies. And recently, 18 other movies. I got you. 18 other movies. Recently, James Cameron, the filmmaker behind Titanic and the Avatar movie, came out saying that he was hoping there would be Avengers fatigue because there are other sci-fi stories to tell. So, of course, all the comic people and the Avengers people got really upset over that. And so it got us talking about movies that have sequels and series and how many is too many. And so we were going to talk about some of our favorite series of movies, and if you like movies that have sequels.
I do like movies that have sequels, but I think the Avengers series, I'm not a big Avengers fan, unfortunately. Not opposed to it, it's just not necessary for me. But I think that's just a lot. That's a lot of movies.
That is a lot of movies.
That is a lot of movies.
Someone tried to tell me to catch up before this one came out. I said, how many do I have to watch?
Yeah.
I don't have time.
Can you start at like 5?
Yeah,
You like start at 10?
There's a couple, right? There's a couple that you could hit the high points. Is that right?
Yeah, probably 5 or 6.
Okay, so you could catch up before tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe. I'll give it a good start. Like the Fast and Furious series, like how many of those have like people seen? Like where can you like start? I know Elise as well say, you know, you got to start from this point. You can catch up fairly quickly. I don't know. I think when I'm so far behind, it's pretty like tough to catch up on too.
So what's your favorite series of movies?
I would say in terms of an actual series of a lot of movies, I've always been a fan of the Batman series. Even when I was a kid, like the original, there you go. Like the original Batman and on to where we are now, I've always liked that series too. This one isn't as long of a series. It's only been a couple movies, but I've been a big fan of the Friday series. Always been a Friday fan. The original with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker, they need to do a remake of that, which I'm sure they'll probably do soon, but that's always been something I've been a favorite of as well, too. So I would say those two are always my favorite. What about you?
I like the Purge movies, actually. As silly as it is and as worn out as it seems, I like them. But my favorite probably is Step Up. Like Step Up to the Streets, Step Up 3D. I mean, you can't get enough Step Up. But speaking of Step Up, that reminds me of something really funny. That of movies that don't have sequels, B.Hun and I have the same favorite movie.
It's Dirty Dancing. How many guys have seen Dirty Dancing? Amazing movie. Amazing movie. It's awesome. Not that they did do a remake of it, but I haven't seen it because I don't think I want to ruin the image.
The Havana Nights.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to ruin the image of the original.
No.
Funny story regarding that quickly. When I was a kid, I was probably around 8, 9 years old. Don't ask me why I saw Dirty Dancing at 8, 9 years old, but I had seen it. I was watching it, and we were in like the family room, and my mom, my 2 sisters, and I were watching it, and obviously it's pretty raunchy, Dirty Dancing at 8 years old. You're not supposed to be watching it. So Mom cut it off.
It's in the title.
It's in the title.
Dirty.
Mom cut it off. Little did they know, I snuck upstairs and told my mom I was gonna go check on my toys. Don't ask me why I said I was gonna go check on my toys. They came upstairs 30 minutes later, found me in my mom's bedroom watching Dirty Dancing, and they caught me. She was not too happy about that, but that's always and ever since then, I've been a Dirty Dancing fan. I've seen it probably a good 30 times in my life.
It's a
great movie. You can't say it's not a good movie.
You can't deny it. You can't deny it. So you're not going to check out the Avengers movie?
I might not make it. Not opposed, I just might not make it. Are you gonna go see it?
I'm also not, so no spoiler alerts from us. If anybody else does. I think it's supposed to be like the biggest movie of the year, so I'm sure people will enjoy it.
They really, people actually like really get into those
Are
movies.
you going?
I'm going. It's not the biggest movie of the year.
It won't be.
No, Black Panther was.
Really?
Definitely was.
This won't top Black Panther?
I don't think so.
Won't come close. Wow. Interesting. I stand corrected on my
There you
comic
go.
movies.
Let's switch gears here.
Let's switch gears.
We got to talk about that J.Cole album. KOD, yes, we have
KOD.
to talk about this because J. Cole's a polarizing figure. I've learned like over the last year that people either really like love J. Cole or hate him.
Or they fall asleep listening to him.
Exactly. So,
Not me.
first of all, let
Michelle.
me get your thoughts here and I'll give mine, especially with like the whole reference to like the beginning of the album and all that. You know, what was your thoughts of the album? And then, you know, like with its cover and, you know, KOD being like kids on drugs. What's your thoughts on that?
I actually have an issue with the cover. But so last week on the podcast, we talked about it because we did the podcast right before it came out. And B.Hun was worried about the KOD referencing kids on drugs. What's the other? Something about overdose and something about killing our demons. So that's what the three things KOD meant. So he was concerned that it was like a coked out album that J. Cole made all about drugs, and understandably so. But what we didn't know was that it was more about the addictions that we have to things like money, technology, love, whatever, and drugs. And so I actually thought it was a pretty good album. What I did take issue with was on the cover, there was like J. Cole as a king with like a bunch of kids doing drugs. And it was the white girl snorting cocaine. And I just want to know why the only white kid on the cover was snorting coke.
He's just playing.
I
He's
want to
playing
know.
on stereotypes.
I want to know. Somebody else was sipping lean, and she wasn't white.
He's a genius at playing on stereotypes.
That is true.
What he did, and it was a metaphor for the entire album. His entire album was a metaphor in like the hip hop industry in 2018. Like the first half of the album was a very like mumble rap style, like it's very like Migos flow. And he did it on purpose. And a lot of times, people are like, "Oh, the first half of the album was boring. It like wasn't J. Cole." Well, no. You know what? It wasn't about it. Yeah, no trash. It wasn't about it because he did that for a reason. It was about to play on like the synopsis, like where the industry is in 2018. The back half of the album, and then he finished at the end with a 1985 song. He killed it. It was awesome. And just to kind of tell people who are the mumble rappers or the rappers of now who have $8-10 million, but in 5 years he was saying they're going to be on Love and Hip Hop, because that's a true adage of like what's actually going to happen. J. Cole is a genius of like saying that. He's just an honest person. So where I think people really didn't get it the first time, but I got it. I love it. I think it was a genius album, and J. Cole is polarizing for that. He's actually a very smart person, so I thought it was a well put together. But I will say he should drop another album this year, because I definitely think he needs to drop more music.
You think he's ready for more?
I definitely think so. You could tell it had like a mixtape vibe to it, for more
and
like a
that
true album. So he
1985
needs to
was
drop
like
another
the
one.
outro, so it was almost like thinking you was an intro to something else.
He had like intros and like outros that weren't outros. He had like an interlude song that wasn't an interlude at all. It was actually a song. So I think his entire album was just like mess with people and see if you can catch it.
What about that
He
song
got it.
Brackets that was talking about how he's not in control of how his tax dollars are used?
It's smart. It's very true though, right?
I think so.
I did.
I think that it's a message to young people who might listen to that music and might not listen to anybody else. What are you laughing at?
Nothing.
But this song talking about how we're not in control of where our tax dollars go. So it was pretty deep for a hip hop
And then the
album.
song Kevin's Heart, he actually had Kevin Hart in the video. It's a genius idea.
This man makes a song about Kevin Hart cheating on his wife, which everyone thinks, wow, how's Kevin Hart going to feel? And Kevin Hart was in the video for it.
Genius. It's a great idea.
Genius.
And it worked out because it's probably like exactly how Kevin was feeling at that time. So he did well with it.
It was good. All right.
I think it was a good album. I think people that didn't really like it are probably just hating or just didn't really understand it, and they should go listen again.
Maybe they're not smart enough.
There we go. Let's do quick hits before we get to
Let's
Count of the
do it.
Week.
Where's
You
our
want
guys?
to get our guys back up here?
Get our guys back
Come
up
back
here.
up and join us. We got some good quick hits for you before we get out of here.
This is our favorite part of the show. Well, before Con of the Week.
So if you guys never listened to the show yet, make sure you do. Subscribe to us on iTunes. We're on SoundCloud as well. We're on Podbean as well, too.
Google Play.
Google Play as well, too. Make sure you leave a review on iTunes because we would appreciate that. They are growing as well, too. So I know you guys listen to the show. You guys ready to do quick hits with us?
Yeah, what's up?
Are you ready?
Let's do
All
it.
right. The first one, Robert Gronkowski has decided to return for the 2018 football season. Will the New England Patriots return to the Super Bowl this year?
That's a good one. You know what? I'll say no. And I think they'll make it to probably the conference championship or close. But you have to realize to a certain extent, all these years are going deep, are going to start to wear and tear on you, and Brady is getting older. Not saying he's not going to be great, but I'll say this year, no, I'll say they won't. I'll say not Jacksonville, but some other team where you serve them.
Jacksonville. I'm going to say no because I don't like their cheating asses.
Well, outside of the Lions, I'm a huge Patriots fan.
You don't get to have two teams.
I'm a Tom Brady fan. Sorry, don't shoot me. I'm a Tom Brady fan. So, yes, they're going back to the Super Bowl.
Right.
What do you got?
Outside of my number
They
one.
going to the Super Bowl or no?
No,
They're not?
they are not. I actually think Jacksonville might.
There we go.
I was pulling for Jacksonville, too.
Next.
I'm a huge Jalen Ramsey fan.
As you should be.
As everyone should be. He's a
Yes.
good player. Next, if you had to be stuck on a desert island and listen to me talk about Machine Gun Kelly all the time, or listen to B.Chan talk about the Dallas Cowboys, which would you choose?
Dallas Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys.
Hey!
And I'm not a Cowboy guy.
Come on.
It's not even a question.
And
not
Cowboys
even
K's
close.
the fan, the man.
It's not even close.
I like good hip-hop.
Oh, come on. Go listen to... You know what? It's the last time you will ever be on a show with me. I liked you before today.
I'll have you back, D. I'll have you back. Okay, we kind of covered this a little bit earlier, but before the NBA playoffs began, I have to rub it in his face, we made our championship predictions. B picked the Cavs. I picked the Warriors.
This is to win it all.
to win it all.
He picked the Cavs to win it all.
This is the
That's
beginning
a
of the
fact.
season, before
No,
all the
not beginning of the
trades
season,
and all that.
beginning of the playoffs.
Because I picked in the beginning of the season, so I had
Beginning
to,
of
regardless.
the playoffs. And I picked the Warriors. Who made a better pick, and do either of us have a chance to have been right?
It's you.
Yeah.
He's smoking.
Yeah. You do know it's like the ABA is not around. So like go
ABA.
down. Golden State is still an NBA.
You're like, what?
You hate the Warriors, clearly.
I'm just not a big
Yeah,
Kevin
I know.
Durant
Hey,
fan.
You hate the Warriors.
I do like LeBron James. You can't hate on LeBron.
Hey,
I
I'm
ain't
a
like
fan.
LeBron James,
Yeah,
but
I'm a
guess
fan.
what? He's
Yeah.
keep losing to the Warriors.
Yeah.
If they make it. But I would like to see one more Golden State Cleveland series. But it's probably not going to happen.
Is anybody like DVR in the game? No? Y'all cool with me telling what happened?
Yeah, what
Okay,
happened?
LeBron hit a game-winning 3-shot.
And they won? There you go. See? When you got LeBron James, you got a chance.
Indiana's done. Indiana's done now. They're done.
Okay. Next.
Devin has to return to the Bears Monday to sign a one-day deal and retire a Bear, which is great.
Yep.
Quick kid here, was he the greatest kick return to ever do it? And does he belong in the Hall of Fame?
Ooh.
Look, kinda he's the greatest. Because most players that I would mention played other positions. Like, I don't know, I know I'm old, so a lot of you didn't see Deion Sanders, who was the greatest cornerback ever. If you ever saw him return kicks and punch, you'd be like, damn. But he played two positions. But
Yeah.
as purely what Devin Hester did, yeah, probably he's the best kick returner.
Is he
ever.
going to
And
the
he
Hall
should
of
be in
Fame?
the Hall of Fame for that.
He is the greatest punt returner, kick returner of all time. They literally changed the rules because of him. He's like the Wilt Chamberlain.
And concussions and CTE.
And concussions, too. That is true. People, doing all kinds of crazy things when they get out of the league. They changed the rules for him. So in a sense, he's kind of like a Wilt Chamberlain almost. You know what I'm saying? Changed the rules because of him. Should he get into the Hall of Fame? Yes. Will he get into the Hall of Fame? It's not a chance in hell.
I think it's a chance. I think it's a chance.
Because, listen, it's very few, if not any, please correct me if I'm wrong, any kind of specialized special team player in the NFL Hall of Fame. If he does it, he will be a unicorn beyond belief. I don't think the purist of football, even going back to the leather helmets, They are not going to put a specialized dude to just run between from field to end to end to put him into the Hall of
We're
Fame.
seeing more kickers get in, and I'll say this about Devin Hester. Since Devin Hester played during the era that we're all familiar with, and it's more of a social media era, it's going to help him. It's like he's been there through the 24-hour sports cycle. So it's gonna benefit him that nationally, just real quick, back, let's just say, like, for instance, Mel Gray playing with the Lions. People don't know how great Mel Gray was.
Yeah.
But we're in the NFC North then. Now it was the Central, but the North.
Right.
But when you think about it, if you didn't see in the Central, you didn't know Mel Gray. But a lot of people nationally know Devin Hester, and it's going to benefit him that nationally a lot of people saw him play.
If he played another position to the height of maybe what Deion did, he would have a shot. But he sucked that wide receiver, sucked that cornerback. And I am hold it up to you. I am a Miami Hurricane fan. When they drafted him, I was like, oh, yes, he's going to do something. He stinks at everything else. It's not going to happen. He should be. I love him, but I don't think it's going to happen.
I disagree.
All right, and finally, the GOAT debate. LeBron, MJ, Kobe. Is there a debate?
Can we
Make it
just
quick.
walk off the stage?
Oh, my God.
Like, I mean,
quick.
We had this debate and we were somewhere else, and Ken didn't want to say it there, but we went somewhere else, and he was talking about it for 30 minutes going somewhere. I was like, why didn't you just say it there? Listen, LeBron James is great. He is not better than Michael Jordan.
It's definitely.
You know why? Because Michael Jordan did take 2-week vacation in the middle of the damn season. That's my only argument, and I'll leave it at that.
Who you got? Who you got over there?
LeBron James physically is the greatest athlete to ever play sports. One. Listen to what I just said. Because see, this is the problem with Jordan. We rate Jordan like Jordan's a 10 and 100 or a 10 and everything. No, he can be the greatest player because he was a 90. He was a 95.
Right.
He was a 97. Look, LeBron James physically is the most gifted athlete I've ever seen in my life with height, speed, just weight, everything. It's unquestionable.
Speed and
but
everything.
I'll say this. As a basketball player, he's not better than Michael Jordan. It's not that much of a difference, but still, when you really talk about it, it's not. And in basketball, let's not cheat now because we like people. Championships mean something. And not losing in the championship means even more. Even the people that we rate as being the greatest, they didn't lose. They didn't lose as much as LeBron, so I have to factor that in.
It's an argument even between him and Kobe who would be the greatest. And I'm a Kobe fan. I'm a fan of all three of them.
Me too.
But I can argue with you and say Kobe is even better than LeBron James.
Yeah, I'm always a Kobe fan too.
You know,
He
so
doesn't get his props.
it's there,
Got
but
to.
he's
He
going to
doesn't
be
get
I
his
there.
love Kobe.
Yeah.
You can't hate on Kobe too. So you got to give Kobe his props as well. He did it. He also had scored 81 points in a game. So
60 in his last game.
we cannot forget that. They didn't play defense that game, but it's okay. At least he retired with a 60-point game. So once again, let's give a shout out to D and Davis podcast. They've been awesome.
There you go.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you guys
Thank you,
coming on.
brother.
You guys are amazing.
Yes.
We'll always
You got a good co-host here, man.
thank you. I
did a
appreciate it.
good
Should we
job.
keep her? Yeah. Absolutely. Thank you guys.
Keeper's a keeper.
Thank you guys. Appreciate that.
Thanks, guys.
We got to get out of here quickly. We're going to
Okay.
do a quick
Quick.
clown of the week. We got to do this first. So you want to go first?
I will go first.
I think you should.
I will make it quick. My clown of the week are the states of Alabama and Mississippi, who on Monday had a state holiday for the Confederate Memorial Day. State offices and schools were closed in remembrance. It has been 153 years since you lost the war. You're clowns and you're losers.
My clown of the week goes to boxer Adrien Broner. Adrien, he is a super clown. Adrien Broner is like a wannabe Floyd Mayweather who like wasn't as good. And I think he's just like using his talk as like his antics to like make up for it. He's not really like as good of a boxer. If you guys missed his last fight with Jesse Vargas, it ended in a draw. And then after that, he made all types of comments saying, he kicked the dude's even though it was still a draw, and so he really didn't, because I guess his face is more messed up. He was making fun of Mexicans in the audience, saying he wanted to go fight next time somewhere. There's more people like him around here as well, too. I think Adrien Broner's time is just up. He's trolling with the rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine, like beefing with him when he's supposed to be a boxer making millions of dollars. I think Adrien Broner is just really a clown, and I think he's past his prime, and I think now he's using those antics to make up for the fact that he's really just not a good boxer, and he's really... deep down, he's just a hood dude that's boxing and never really could get out of his own way. And that's why he's just never as good. And it's probably why Floyd Mayweather just really doesn't mess with him as much as he thinks. So I know for shortness of time, because I could go on all day about Adrien
And he
Broner.
would.
But for now, Adrien Broner is the clown of the week.
Okay.
thank you guys for being here. This has been awesome. The live podcast is so much fun. We really thank you guys for coming out from the bottom of our hearts. We really do appreciate that. So what else you got to say, B?
That's it. Just thank you. It was my first time. So thanks for coming and going easy on us and making it a fun night.
So you can find us all on social media, our Facebook, Instagram is Alternative Fact Chicago. Twitter is 8Fact Chicago as well. Please subscribe on our iTunes if you have not, and also leave a review. My Twitter is B.Hun 1984. Your Twitter is?
Starbright312. Twitter, Instagram.
Why is it Starbright 312? Sounds like a high school name.
We're wrapping it up. I had an old Twitter I got rid of.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk
We should
about it
change
later.
that. But
It was
thank
really
you guys
funny,
for coming
too.
out. This is B.Hun with B.Chan.
Yeah, thank you.
And we're out. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.